This is the intro with for Fire with Tomas Garcia. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to E14 Podcast. I'm Jamie Britt.
And I'm Heath Britt.
And together we're E14. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of our own and not the United States Navy or our respective commands.
So you can take it or leave it.
Boom.
Mic drop.
So I know we talked about this before on one of our previous episodes, but if, Heath and I are different ranks and we do want to pay respects to the people that outrank us. But there's a thing about being a Navy chief wife and also a E6. Sometimes with Heath's friends, I meet them and we go by first names. And usually, typically, if it's one of Heath's friends that I've met in, as his wife.
Social gathering.
Yeah, as his wife, I will refer to them as their first name. If it's someone I work for, I refer to them with their rank. So, we have Tomas on.
Tomas Garcia.
He is a master chief, but he was also your friend.
He was my friend, still my friend.
Well, still your friend. Yeah. We're stationed in Kingsville, which is how I met him.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was funny because he came off as a cob off the submarines, right? So in the submarines, a cob, chief of the boat, it's like the command master chief of a shore installation or a ship.
Yeah.
So we still called him cob.
So he came in as the CMC, but y'all still called him cob.
We called him cob, and they used to piss the XO off. He's not on a submarine no more. It's CMC. Well, how about chief of the base, cob?
Chief of the base.
Yeah.
That fits the acronym. So we met Tomas and his wife, Marcy, back when we were in Kingsville, and it's been a long friendship, and just so happy that he came on to talk about his leadership style and his what do you call it? Philosophy? Yeah, philosophy. His leadership philosophy. And that is something so interesting because I never thought about it, to make your own philosophy and live by it. Duh. Right?
Yeah, and he's not blowing smoke up our ass. That's how he does business. I worked for him for a few years, and that's how he conducts business. If it's ethical, moral, and legal, he's good for it. If as long as that, he'll go with your idea, as long as those three things. So he's super easy to work. He was super easy to work for. As long as it was ethical, moral, and legal, he was game. So
please enjoy this episode with Tomas.
Yeah, enjoy it because, like I said, this is no shit how he rolls.
It's fire.
It's fire. Fire.
Now it's time. It is time.
Time for what?
Time for cigars, ports, and the 7
Boom, boom. Oh, by the way, happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. I am so excited that this episode is dropping on the 4th of July because it just seems so fitting. And I love the drink that I have today because it's very fitting for the 4th.
It is. It looks, it's American as hell.
So, do you want to go ahead and start with your drink?
No, you please.
Okay, thanks. All right, so what I'm doing is a review on a hard seltzer. Now, before you judge me, let's stop shaming people who have gotten chubby and need to choose healthier ways to drink. Okay?
I'm not judging.
Let's get off that judgment train. Well, the Navy loves to judge people on these sissy drinks. And let me tell you.
No, it's cool because you're a female. Nobody judges you. Now, if I drink it, they judge me.
No, I don't think so. I think they judge regardless of your gender. But I will tell you that sometimes you need to cut calories. And so good on me, pat on my back for noticing I was getting chubby and cutting calories.
You're not chubby.
All right. So this is a Paradise Park hard seltzer, and I have never seen these before, but they had really cool flavors, so I wanted to try it. Guess what the flavor is?
What?
Rocket Pop.
Rocket Pop.
Well, you remember those when the ice cream man would come around.
The Rocket Pop candies?
No, it's not Pop Rocks.
Oh, it's on the Pop Rocks.
Oh, my bad. Good grief. Sorry. It's the red, white, and blue popsicle.
Oh yeah. They're talking about
red, white, and blue popsicle. So how fitting for the 4th of July. And it's low calories, 96 calories. It does kind of have a lot of carbohydrates is 7 and 5 sugars. So it's not as healthy as you can get, but it's still lower calories. So I'm just going to open it for you right now in the nice pink can.
Normally I open them, so she's not very good at opening.
I know. I don't like my nails to get misted. All right. And what I like about this, I'm going to take a sip here because I'm going to tell you something about this seltzer. Oh, I drilled down my chin. All right. So the trio of flavors is cherry, blue raspberry, and lime. And it finishes. So it starts cherry, then you taste the blue raspberry, and then you taste the lime. It finishes with the lime.
It's like a party in your mouth, huh?
I know. It's like 3 flavors, 3 different flavors in one sip.
Do you like it?
I do. So what are you drinking?
Oh, well, this is good on 4th of July. It's good at Christmas. It's good MLK Day. It's good anytime.
Okay.
I love it. It's called Bullet Bourbon Frontier Whiskey. It's the barrel strength. You're looking at about 58.3% by volume. So it's made in Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So, oh yeah, let me take a sip. So this whiskey bourbon has a good maple or amber, medium amber.
Yeah, it's really pretty
Color. I'm gonna take a sip.
I like the bottle because it looks old fashioned, like back in the Western days.
So with almost 60%, it does pack a little kick, a little Kentucky hug. But I like it. You get some nutmeg, some maple, and some oak. It's pretty, not sweet, like overpowering, but it's got little sweet notes to it. And it's really good. Like I said, like I did with the Widow Jane, this is my last.
Are you emptying out the bottle?
I'm emptying it out. I'm emptying out. But this is a cool bottle. I love this bottle. It does look old, like something you'd see in the early late 1800s. It's really good. Really cool bottle.
Like an apothecary type.
Yeah.
Old cough syrup.
Right.
Medicine bottle.
Breaking into grandma's cough syrup. I like it. But no, it's got a little kick because it's a little stronger than in some liquors. But it's got a good flavors, really good flavors.
And it's so pretty too.
It is. It's got a good color, good flavors. And I mean, it's reasonably priced. I think I paid 30.
No, I bought you this one. I bought it at the NEX, the Navy Exchange.
That's right. Yeah. What is it, like 30, 40 bucks?
Oh, no, it's a little more expensive because it's aged longer.
Oh, this is the age 9 years, I think.
No, I think it's longer. I think it's like 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
How long is it?
I don't say.
Oh, well, anyway, I paid a little bit more for the aging.
Yeah.
But with the benefit of shopping on the base, liquor is pretty cheap anyways. I think it was like $50.
You don't pay taxes either.
Right. So
that's right. You did get that from me.
They had it for $50.
I have another liquor that's aged 9 years. I'm getting my shit mixed up.
Oh, okay. Well, keep it together.
I know. I'm a hot mess. Well, I should have drank so much Bullet before we started.
All right. So what are you going to smoke? Let's talk about the cigar portion.
No, I'm not going to talk about what I'm going to smoke. I'm going to talk about what I already smoked because I can't smoke it in here.
Well, okay.
Don't tease the audience, babe.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay. This is a La Aroma de Cuba cigar by the Cubano. Now, I made some notes. Let me pull them out real quick on my phone when I was smoking. As I smoked one, and I'm going to review it with this one. So
I like the wrapper on it.
Oh, it's really pretty.
The ring. Yeah, it looks like a real Cuban. No, not the.
You're talking about this, right?
No, I'm talking about what do you call that? Cigar wrapper? The ring?
Yeah.
That thing right there with the woman on it.
I got it. Yeah, this does look like you got a Cuban woman sitting on the top, La Aroma de Cuba. But it's from Pepin Garcia. He's the maker of it. Great cigar maker. He does a lot of good stuff. And for the price point, $6 for this Robusto.
Really?
And this is a 93 rated cigar. The best you can get is 100. So
wow, that's
93
rated
price. Cigar, great price. Paid $6. I think you can get them even cheaper, $5 some places. Even for the Toro, which is a little bigger, I think I paid $6.85, $7 for it. So it's reasonably priced. And in the first third, I got some little sweet tobacco.
Yeah.
A little bit of cedar notes.
Cedar.
It's good though.
So is that the smell?
No, that's the
You
flavor.
taste
Taste
cedar.
cedar. It almost tastes like you would
How do you
smell.
taste cedar? I mean, have you ever eaten
No, but
cedar?
you smell cedar and you fit and you,
Oh,
and you taste it. And that's through the retro hill.
oh, fancy.
You know what the
Like
retro hill is?
Snoop
You know
Dogg.
what the retro hill is?
It's like Snoop Dogg, right? Where
No,
it goes
no.
back through your
It doesn't.
nose.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You don't rap when you're doing it.
D-O-double-G.
You also get a musty tobacco.
A musty?
It sounds crappy
Yeah.
to people, to novices or non-cigar smoker, but it's actually a pleasant flavor.
I love the smell of must.
And then that's in the first third. Second third, I get a touch of spice.
Interesting.
And the cedar continues. And on the third, I get more spice in the cedar. And a little bit of musty on the third.
So
Third.
you hear that if you would like to smoke a cedar tree.
It's good though. 93 rated.
Hey, can't
Beat it.
beat it for the price either.
No, you can't. You really can't.
So let's get into our story today.
Oh, the story. So in honor of Tomas,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about a story about the greatest loss in American history when it comes to submarines,
Oh, what's that?
the USS Thresher.
Okay.
But a lot of good things came out of this loss of lives.
So we lost the whole sub.
Lost the whole sub plus crew
Oh my God.
of 129 people, 112 sailors, 17 civilian contractors.
Wow.
On this, it was I think it's still referred to as one of the worst losses in submarine history.
Probably in naval history as well.
Well, I know we got surface ships that went down in World War II,
Oh, okay.
but in submarine history, though, that's probably the worst one.
Yeah.
Lost the most souls.
Wow.
So so this was, I think, what was big in the all the way until 91, from like the late 40s to 91. What war? Who are we worried about? Russia.
Oh.
Cold War, right? So we were fighting with the Russians to go to space, for naval supremacy.
Yeah.
That to include submarine supremacy. So this Thresher, named after the Thresher shark, was commissioned in 1961, August 3rd, 1961, with the pure reason its job was to hunt and destroy Russian submarines.
Wow.
So it was the fastest. It had the biggest armament in history. This was the baddest sumbitch in the water.
So were we running on nuke
This
power?
is nuclear propulsion. It's not the first nuclear propulsion. Nautilus was.
The Nautilus was. Yeah.
But this was faster.
Yeah.
And the weapons on this thing was unbelievable.
So this is one of the things I tell everybody when I do talk about nuclear power, like to the people I try to recruit for it, is that this is the reason why we are the world's greatest navy, is that we run on nuclear propulsion, and because it's quieter, it's stealthier. And you got to think all these other submarines at the time are running on diesel.
A lot of them were, and they're
super
loud.
And we're stealthy, we're quiet.
That's in comparison, right? So it's probably not loud, but compared to when you're
to the sonar
when you're dealing with sonar, that some bitch is putting out a signature like crazy, right?
Right.
It's like a rock concert underneath the water.
That's
right?
what we meant by quieter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, if you can hear shrimp eating at the bottom of the ocean, you surely can hear a big diesel engine coming through.
Yeah, definitely. And this was it's gonna be quieter, faster, and just the weapons on it were crazy. Right?
Wow.
A new type of alloy that the hull was made out of that's still used today. And yeah, it was going to hunt and destroy
a
Russia.
Banff badass.
Yeah, don't say it, man. Come on, we're PG-13 here. But it was built and, like I said, commissioned in 61. But then it got to its sea trials from 61 to 62. It had some issues. It had to work out some issues, like any new vessel.
Yeah.
You got to work out the bugs, right? That's normal. Even today, there's some bugs that come out. That's why you do these tests to work these bugs out, so it's seaworthy and war ready, right?
Right. I know they do that. I've seen videos of them doing that with some ships, like hard maneuvers, just going as fast as they possibly can. So they test out everything that they can possibly that they could think of,
right,
with these vessels.
Definitely. So one time it was it had pulled into Puerto Rico, San Juan, and the reactor went down, right, on purpose.
Right.
and then it's intended to run off the diesel generators. That was going to power the sub, right? But the diesel generators took a dump.
Oh, great.
Battery only. And battery only lasts a certain amount of time. It's like your ups on a computer. It only lasts a certain amount of time.
Right.
Batteries die. It needs that other power to charge the batteries, correct? So they were trying to fix it. I don't think the captain was even there. He was out at some function out in town, like a lot of COs do. They have to go,
Right.
hobnob and rub elbows with the locals.
Elbows, kiss babies.
And it's not like we had cell phones in 1961, 62.
True.
So I think they might have got a hold to him. So he said, keep it on battery until you can fix the diesels and bring it up. But after 10 or so hours of being on battery, so battery only powers necessities.
Mhm.
Air conditioner is not a necessity.
Oh,
It was 140 degrees in that submarine after 10 or 12 hours of
my
being
goodness.
without air conditioner. Finally, they were like, well, we need a little bit of battery power to light the reactor back off to power the ship. So they decided to go ahead and use the battery to light it off. There wasn't enough battery power to light it off.
Oh, no.
Luckily, there was another ship or submarine in port, and they ran cables from the Thresher to the other ship, and they were able to light it off using their power.
Like a car.
Jump start that son of a bitch. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So so that was a kind of like, damn, the diesel generators took a dump. So they got that fixed though. That got repaired.
Okay.
And sometime later, they were pulled into Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Mhm.
I guess some Florida man driving a tugboat hit it and destroyed
Thanks to our Florida men.
Yeah, Florida man. I don't know if he was a Florida man, but it sounds something like a Florida man would do. No offense, guys, but but hit it and did some damage to the ballasting system, so they had to get that fixed.
Mhm.
So there were some like little telltale signs. Hey, that's some bad luck around this ship.
Yeah,
Right?
what's going on? So that ballasting, we've talked about ballasting before.
Ballasting, yeah. So
that's the leveling system.
and then the sub is important because you can't go underwater. You can't
come back up.
You can't come back up without ballasting. That's what
Right.
they do. So they got that fixed. They went to a yard period for about 9 months. It was 6. It got extended. Like most new ships, they run into bugs they're not expecting. So it
Mhm.
went from 6 months to 9 months. So in April of 63, it met up with the Skylark. The Skylark was a submarine rescue ship. So when these ships go out and do testing, they always have a surface ship with them
Right.
to communicate with and to help them out. So they went about 200 or 220 miles off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts,
Uh-huh.
and they were doing dive testing. Most of it was pretty elementary. They're doing their easy dives and resurfacing. They call that a trim dive. I don't know much about trimming, but that's what they start out with.
It's cold over there.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, it's cold. And this was in April, so it was still cold.
Yeah.
So they were doing that, and all of a sudden they were maintaining communications with the Skylark. Everything's going good, going perfect, textbook, if you will. Then they said, okay, we're going to do a test depth.
Mhm.
Okay, half test depth.
What's that?
Test depth is where they tested at. That's as far as they're going to try to go. For the Thresher, it was 1,300 feet.
Okay.
So half test is 650 feet, right?
Mhm.
Below the surface of the ocean. So they went to 650 feet, half test depth.
Yes.
And they stayed there overnight, circling the Skylark underneath the water, maintaining communications with the underwater telephone. We call that Gertrude.
Mhm.
And it was just doing its normal rotations overnight. Good. So next morning they're like, okay, we're gonna go full test depth. So it started to descend to full test depth.
Mhm.
And when they go down underwater, every 100 feet they stop, test the systems, look at everything, make sure everything's good. Then they'll go another 100 feet. So it's a slow descent, right?
Right.
Well, that morning, Skylark, and I think they're close to test depth, maybe 900 to 1,000 feet down.
Mhm.
They heard a garbled message from the Thresher. They couldn't hear a lot of it, but what they could hear was something in the lines of, we are experiencing difficulties
Mhm.
attempting to emergency below. That means come up to the surface.
Come up it fast.
Fast. So that's where ballasting comes in and all that. Well, the Skylark said, okay, they heard that, and they said, and they made sure the area was clear from the blow, and they reported like, all right, you're good to go. Come emergency blow. You're good. The area is
Mhm.
clear. Then they didn't say anything. They started getting deeper and deeper,
Oh my gosh.
deeper and deeper. And they heard something like, and at the end, toward the end, they heard something like a loud frequency noise,
Like a
which
screech.
something like that, which in sonar world, that means an implosion.
Oh God.
So, of course, they, the Skylark around 11ish that morning, they called, okay, loss of the Thresher, we can't
Mhm.
out of,
No,
out of
no
no
comms.
comms or whatever. So the Navy sent like 15 or 20 ships circling around trying to find them. About 10 hours later, they look, we cannot find these guys. You got to think this is 1958 or
Right.
1963, right? This is 1963, April 1963.
Right. There's no
So
radars
they
well,
have them,
I'm
they can
sure
have
they're
sonar,
radar
but we don't, how deep have we gone at that
at that point.
time? I mean, it's really, there's really nothing that anybody could really do. So they called it off. The CNO, Chief of Naval Operations, made his comments. We lost the Thresher. JFK, the president at the time, John F. Kennedy, ordered the flag to half mast from the 12th to the 15th of April, 1963, in honor of the crew of the Thresher. 129 souls, 112 sailors, like I said, 17 civilian contractors lost their lives on the Thresher as it sank to the bottom. Okay, and there was always a conspiracy that the Navy came up with the conclusion that a seawater valve ruptured.
Okay.
Right, couldn't get it controlled in time. Water sprayed on the electrical panels of the reactor shut down, no power.
Right.
Emergency blow, there was icing on the submarine
Because it's cold.
because you're 1,000 feet underwater. It's cold.
And it's off the coast of Massachusetts
in April. So they couldn't come up to the surface. Just a recipe for the worst disaster imaginable.
Oh my gosh.
And so a man named a former Navy captain, James Bryant,
Mhm.
he had in the past had commanded Thresher-like submarines, the same type.
Mhm.
So he had a lot of knowledge on these submarines. And he sued the Navy after his retirement.
Really?
They wanted documents because they thought they were covering something up. They released something like 3,600 documents to the public. And it came out, they weren't covering anything up.
What did he think?
He thought it was more to it than that. A lot of people did.
They thought maybe they got attacked or
That
something.
they didn't know. They thought they just thought that's something more to it. But after research and after courts and whatever, they decided Navy wasn't covering anything up. It was seawater rupture mixed with lack of training, a rush, because they were rushing, the Navy was rushing to be
So
the,
hurry, let's get it going.
let's get it going. We got to beat the Russians.
Let's
Got to
go.
beat the
Yeah.
Russians. Got to beat the Russians. Got to
Yep.
beat the Russians. So a lot of that came with Russian lack of training. Also, the reason the Navy was not forthcoming with this information is because they were just trying to keep submarine blueprints, plans away from the enemy. It was just,
Right.
it was just
Because at that
operational
time,
security.
no other Navy had nuclear submarines, didn't know
They
they didn't know
they
our
might have, I don't
infrastructure.
know.
Because this is like these subs were brand new at the time.
Yeah,
So
they were hot shit.
yeah, so they were willing to get their hands on those blueprints. I'm
Right.
sure.
They try to keep everything hush hush. So it took till 2019 before this came.
I can imagine.
That's crazy. It's a long time.
No, I can imagine because even today's Navy submarines are very stealthy. We don't know their
You'll never know they're
depths.
there.
We don't know how deep they can go. We don't know how fast they can go because all of that's classified.
Yeah. Like the Thresher was advertised over 30 knots underwater, which was trucking at
That's
that day.
huge. That's
You
huge.
times 30 knots times 1.2, that 30 miles an hour times 1.2, that's how many knots you're going.
Mhm.
So you're trucking 35, 36 miles an hour underwater, or 36 knots underwater.
Yeah.
That's moving.
And that's just what they told us.
That's what they told us. Everything else is classified. A lot of ships, if you look at their speed, it's over 30 knots.
Yeah.
So
that's a general.
Right.
Yeah.
But some good stuff came out of this. Unfortunately, yeah, that was a tragic loss to the Navy and to their families, not knowing. And it sank. And it ended up being at the bottom of the ocean in that area, 8,500 feet.
8,500
feet. And people got pictures of it later on, years later. It looked like it'd been through a paper shredder.
Really?
And just an idea how fast this happened. The sailors on that ship, knew they were going to die after a certain point, but they never knew when they died. That thing crushed like a tin can in 0.1 seconds, faster than the Navy, and faster than a human nervous system can respond to that.
But even still, just sitting there knowing you're going to die
Yeah.
is
Oh yeah.
the worst, I think. I mean, I guess if you could say I'm glad it was fast for them, but just the descent knowing that this is going to happen is just as scary as any other.
I can imagine that. But some good came out of the tragedy. SubSafe.
Okay.
SubSafe is a program they use from the birth of the ship, from they start building it to every repair, all the way until that ship is decommissioned. Quality control. Everything is inspected. Everything is inspected 3 or 4 times. And I dealt with QA when I was on the sub tender for anything we did on the submarine. And it's a paperwork nightmare.
Tedious, right?
Tedious, but it is written in blood.
Yeah.
And they take it seriously.
Yeah.
I had to supervise one or two projects, and it was stressful because you checking every T, every I.
Now I know that when it comes to reactors, so I can imagine the subs, but they know down to where that nut and bolt came from, when it was put in, when it was replaced, the manufacturer of the nut and bolt. So every piece of that vessel they know everything.
It's crazy. It's to a T, and we haven't had a lost submarine in over 50 years.
Right.
So the Scorpion, right after about 5 years, 68, after the Thresher, we lost a Scorpion. Not as many people on board, but still a severe loss.
Severe loss.
But in its defense, it was not SubSafe certified. They had started the program, but they were in a way of implementing throughout the Navy. It takes time,
It does.
So it was not no other ship has been lost in America as far as submarines that has been SubSafe certified.
Wow.
And that's 50 plus years.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's, so many of our instructions and policies are written in blood because of lessons learned and after actions and that sort of stuff.
And that with aviation.
Everything we do is written in blood because you don't know until you have something like that happen, and then you can say, well, let's not do that again. Unfortunately, but it's today's Navy is safer.
It is.
There's a lot that goes into everything that we do. Every movement is thought about, inspected, and it's for those that have gone before us.
So I say to the crew of the Thresher, let's have a drink. Cheers.
Cheers. So I know that you got some audio footage.
Yeah, we got, I looked for the actual footage of the Thresher. I heard it exists, but I couldn't find it. I think it might be under lock and key somewhere. But we do have a 3-minute audio to show you or to let you listen to that experts talk about kind of the last few minutes of the Thresher while it was taking on water getting into the electrical panels for the reactor, and the reactor shutting down. And I hope you enjoy it because it's really eye-opening. It opened my eyes. I think it opened Jamie's eyes.
It's just, it's intense. So, discretion advised. But, with that, we'll leave you with the audio. Fair winds.
And following seas.
That was good, baby. You did that. Man, you're going to be the storyteller from now on because I was